Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is Hacker for the Commodore 64, released by Activision in 1985. This game was released on a handful of classic 80s PCs and the Commodore 64. The Commodore 64 game doesn't come with a manual either. It's supposed to be an item. I forgot this point, but I remembered it after I did some research on the title. They want you to figure out the gameplay as you go. Kinda neat. The game opens immediately to a blue screen and it asks you for input to log on. That's a pretty nice idea, I think. Try to get you straight into the game. After you stumble through this text area, you start a simple minigame. Basically, you need to select the parts of your subterranean robot. This robot is something you're going to utilize throughout the game to travel. This little startup game you got here, you need to select all the parts that they ask you for on screen, and it's going to be trial and error. And you also have to do so in order. If you miss one, ultimately you're going to start the minigame over, so pay attention. When you finally start the actual game, the main screen contains a map, a compass, your camera screen, and a command line list on the left. When the MSG icon flashes, you press M to review the message. That's pretty much how you use these items in the menu. Just press the first letter. Anyway, the MSG icon, the message icon, this is where you're going to get intelligence information that helps you throughout the game. You use your joystick here to change directions. This is where you're going to actually move the compass. When you face a direction, if you keep pressing in that direction, you might be able to lay out a path in the map. That is, if the tunnel you're in actually goes in that direction. If you have a viable path, you press the button and you'll travel the path. Then you can turn and adjust your directions as you need to. Basically, you're trying to connect with certain destination points on the map. The command list, like I said, is on the left, and you just need to push the corresponding letter on the keyboard to run that function. Not all functions can be used at all times of the game, though. You just have to pay attention to it being there, and you'll use it occasionally. Mostly you're going to use this to have your robot go up, down, review messages, or make calls. The basic mission is to recover all the pieces of a document concerning the Magma Project. You're going to locate and interact with spies along the way and gather these pieces of information. Basically, your goal is to trade money or merchandise that you collect along the way, give them to the spies, and the spies will trade you for what you're looking for. So, you need to guide your subterranean robot through the tunnels and travel across the globe using the controller. And you can only travel in straight lines. You have no tunnel map, so you need to get used to this and learn how to make your way to the different squares in the map. When you end up at a square in the map, press U to go up. And when you're topside, press C to call, and then you use your controller to look around for spies. After a couple seconds, you're going to hear a cool-looking spy walk into the frame, and he's going to speak to you. Most likely it's going to be in a different language, but basically, you select I for inventory, and then offer them something in your list. You only start out with cash, so hopefully they accept that immediately and you can buy something. Each spy can sell multiple items, and you may not know if the items that they're going to offer you are going to be useful later in the game to other spies. But basically, you need to buy items from spies to give to other spies that don't want money. And of course, you can run out of money. This game is worth writing items down, because you're going to need to learn, discover, and play through this one a bunch of times to know what it is you need to buy, and offer to whom. I think as you lose the first 2 or 3 times in this game, you're going to start to see what things you need to write down. Also, eventually you're going to have to pass security checks. They're going to ask you questions about information that you've already experienced in the game. If you're paying attention, you should be able to get through these. The first security check, they're going to ask you for your company name. That was something that was displayed to you early in the game. Now you need to know that you have to write it down, and you want to pay attention to the spelling and punctuation because yes, that's going to matter. When additional levels of security checks occur, they're going to ask you for different items, which makes you look for that item in the next game because you probably didn't write it down yet. If you write them down, it's really going to help. If you fail a security check, it's going to give you a couple of opportunities to make it up, but ultimately if it's failed, you're going to lose the game and start over. I remember getting this game as a kid in a collection of Commodore 64 games. It was one of 5 or 10 different games in a box, and this was one of the better titles. It had an interesting interface. It had the map and an action window in the center. I mean, it was kind of exciting. You get to see a spy on screen. Espionage stuff was pretty interesting. I think it holds up okay now. I mean, it's not awesome. I can't see it having a ton of short-term replayability. I played this one 30 years ago, so enough time has passed for me to relearn the game and have a good time with it. but I wouldn't play this one every month, especially considering I've managed to figure out how to get almost the entire document, and it took me about an hour of gameplay. I don't think I got this far when I was a kid, but I'm certainly on my way to beating this one now. I think I can get about 75% of the document so far. Navigating through the underground tunnels is probably the most confusing part of the game. I've made it far enough in this one to realize that the part I'm missing is a map that explains what the tunnels are. You need to know exactly where to go so you can quickly get to the locations on the map. Eventually, I can manipulate my way into every destination on the map, but I have to stumble so much to do it. And when you arrive at a place where you have nothing to offer them, I can't tell what they want in Japan or New York yet. That's a problem because I bought almost everything beforehand, which means I'm probably doing something out of order. So this game basically is you trying to figure out where to go, in what order, and what to buy. Because there's a certain order that I'm going, and I know this is failing. I go to France, I go to London, Egypt, and Greece. And now I'm pretty sure this is the wrong order. The way I do it, I get a whole bunch of items, but I eventually get to a wall, and I can't progress any further. Mostly this is because some of the items that the spies offer you are expensive. So if you buy, say, a Swiss chalet, yeah, another guy wants it later, but the truth is that takes up most of my money, and then the next time a valuable item shows up, I can't afford it. And what if I need that item later? I don't know yet. So I'm pretty sure I'm doing things out of order. It's going to be a learning process for sure. I'll have to try to mix it up a little different. There was also a Hacker 2 that was released after this one. I'm going to have to get that one on the list and see what changed between these releases. This one was interesting. I think the second one's probably going to be even better. Well, that's all I have for Hacker for the Commodore 64. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.